Sarah Palin spoke to Breitbart News, and she argued that God picked Donald Trump. How can anybody say that? So here's what she said, quote, "I saw more and more people's eyes open, and I think so much of that was based on the church in general. Those people of faith who were praying to God that people would wake up. Remember, our founders dedicated this land, this new country that would be America, this idea of America, dedicated it to God. If I were president, I'd rededicate us to God." All right, let me pause there. That's not true. What are you saying? We are a secular country. It's in the fucking First Amendment. You don't even have to read through to like the 8th, Sarah. It's in the First Amendment. They just fucking... whatever it is, they make it up. Whatever the reality is, you know, Stephen Colbert's line, reality has a well-known liberal bias. They're like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so the founding fathers all were fundamentalist Christians, and they dedicated this nation to God. Thank you very much. And I would rededicate us to God. Oh, that's great. So in other words, if you were president, you would make us a theocracy. You'd make us the Christian Saudi Arabia. Good to know that you're un-American. She continues. Prayer warriors across the country, people who perhaps had never expressed their faith in a higher being before, knew that, geez, we got to be on our knees asking for a change here because we're going down the wrong road. I was so grateful to see so many people step up in that realm. No doubt, divine providence played a huge role in this election. I will boldly proclaim that. I saw it firsthand. What? You saw divine providence firsthand. So you saw God get involved and pick Donald Trump. How does that even unfold? What is like a face come out of the sky? Like, hello, Sarah. I'm here to pick Donald Trump for president. Divine providence. That's how God does divine providence. Divine providence. He says it like that too. Divine providence. Sarah, you sound like a crazy person because you are one. And you know what really frustrates me about her is that when you read through like her Twitter feed or some shit, it's just nonstop like snark and condescension and like, hey, liberals are so stupid and they don't know anything about facts or the real world. And then she says stuff like this. God picked our candidate and his hand was involved in this election. His hand was involved in this election. Really? God was involved? Really? That's what happened? God picked Donald Trump? So he went for the person who said, grab them by the pussy, I don't even wait. That was his move? That's what God... Where does that say that, by the way? Is that in the Gospel of Mark? Grab them by thine pussyeth, I don't even waiteth. No, come on, man. He said, let's take out their families. Talking about the families of terrorists during the primary. Is that... who would Jesus slaughter? I mean, don't get me wrong, there's parts in the Old Testament where God just slaughters everything in sight, and there's parts where Jesus is more aggressive, but most of his message is fucking peace and love. Who would Jesus deny healthcare to? Trump says he wants to repeal Obamacare and basically kick 20 million people off the health insurance rolls. Whose wages would Jesus lower? Remember when Trump said, wages are too high? Wages are too high. Let me just tell you. I have to just tell you. Who would Jesus torture? Remember when Trump was going on the campaign trail? We got to bring back waterboarding. I bring back worse than waterboarding. I torture even if it doesn't work. Because they deserve it. Now, to be fair to him, he flipped back on that one. But what issue has he not flipped on? But would God pick somebody like that? Well, maybe. God, again, half the fucking Bible is just vicious, savage, brutal, genocidal, crazy shit. So maybe. But I always am amazed by the self-centeredness of these claims, too. Like, okay, God gets involved in the election, the U.S. election, to pick your favorite candidate. And nobody ever goes, God, man, he intervened and he picked the other candidate. God damn it. Nobody ever says that. But my candidate, obviously. But then it's always so America-centric. Like, obviously, Sarah Palin would never... if somebody in Argentina was like, God got involved in our election, she'd be like, a stupid moron. Somebody said this in Botswana or Madagascar or Trinidad and Tobago. They'd be like, what are you saying? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But when it's our country, well, what do you mean? Of course, God cares about us. We're the chosen people because we're superior. Such a godly thing, right? Jesus would be, those people are superior to those people. No, not equality, not, hey, you're all humans, all help each other out. I care about those people, I don't care about those people. They're such children, man. Snark and condescension to liberals, and then when it comes to the shit they say, no rules, no logic, no reason. God got involved in the election and picked Donald Trump. Obviously, God picked Donald Trump. You know, that sounds a lot like what they say in places like Saudi Arabia, what they say in theocracies.